Welcome to Stress Release Yoga. I'm Christy. Let's take a breath. Just trying to settle into your seat. Notice how you are. How's your stress today? And then are you feeling that stress in your body? Are you feeling some tension in the body? And can you release that out as you breathe? Just trying to soften any little spots of tightness a bit. So today we're going to focus a lot on the breath and a little bit of meditation. So let's just move a little bit here. We're going to circle the shoulders and inhale the arms up overhead. Nice big stretch up. Let's rotate the wrists around. So any which way you want to move your wrists. So you can try to do this side to side motion, either with your hands kind of parallel to the floor, trying to take your hands side to side, or you can do it with your hands up towards the ceiling. It's one of those like brain twisters for me. I have a hard time getting my hands to go side to side. They don't really want to go that way, but I find it really helpful if I can get them to go that way a few times. And wiggle your fingers. And then let's take hands behind us, interlace fingers together, pull hands down towards the floor. Lengthen up your spine as you're pulling your hands down towards the floor. A couple of good breaths here. And then let your hands reach back up overhead. And then we'll take it into a twist. Just a nice little gentle twist to the right. Left hand can rest on either leg. Lengthen up your spine. Big full inhale. You're ready to come back through center. Bring arms up overhead. And twist it to the left side. So now right hand can rest on either leg. Lengthen up your spine. Take a big breath. Back to center, arms reach up overhead, and then let's grab hold of the right wrist. Bend a little bit to your left side. And then come on back to center. We're going to grab hold of left wrist and bend a little bit to the right side. Big full breath there. And then back to center. And let hands come on down. Big full breath. And then hands together at the heart. And we're just going to extend the hands out forward. Trying to push the hands as far forward as you can while you're lengthening your spine up so that those shoulder blades are pulling away from the spine. So the shoulder blades are drawing forward a little bit. And then bring your left hand to your right shoulder. Right hand's going to come to the outer upper arm. Try to pull this left arm across the chest. And then let your arms come out wide. And extend your hands out as far as you can. Bring hands together in front of you, again, pushing hands out away from the body. And then bring right hand over to your left shoulder, left hand to the outside of that right upper arm, pulling your right upper arm across the chest. And breathe. Extend your arms out wide again, trying to reach those hands out as far as you can to your sides. And then the hands down behind you. Interlace fingers. Pull hands towards the floor again. Lengthen up the spine. And then arms come back up overhead. We're going to grab hold of that right wrist again. Bend a little bit to your left side. Come back through center. Grab hold of left wrist. Bending a little bit to your right side. This side is where I need it the most. All right, we're gonna come back to center and release hands down. So I've got a block here that I've been sitting on. For the breathing, you're probably gonna want something to sit on. So we're gonna do some pranayama, some yogic breathing. But for the moment, we're gonna take it into a wide leg forward fold. So I don't enjoy being on the block for this. So I'll just pull that out, but I'm gonna come back to it in a moment. So let your feet come out wide and we're just gonna lean forward. Where's your spot? Try to lengthen out your spine. Breathe. You could use blocks under your arms here if you find that helpful. And then come on up. Let's do a butterfly. We're gonna bring the soles of the feet together. We're gonna round the back. So pranayama practice is typically done after asana practice, although you can do it really at any time. So asana is this, what we're doing right now is the physical postures of yoga. Try to release some stress and tension out of the body. So partly they say that you should be relaxed to move into pranayama, but I think it's also just so that you can be a little more comfortable, so that we're releasing some of this tension out of the body. So traditionally it's done, after you've done your whole asana practice and you've done shavasana, where you've been still and you've relaxed. All right, so feet out wide again. We're gonna turn towards the right leg and we're just gonna lean in over this right leg. You can reach the outside of the foot with your left hand. You can reach across. And then we're coming back up. And we're going to take it to the left side. So looking towards your left leg, fold over the left leg. And again, if you can reach the foot, you're going to bring that right hand across. Coming back up, bring your feet together. And we're gonna take it into another twist here. So you can just do your legs straight if you like, twisting to the side, or you can bring right foot to the outside of your left leg, hanging on to that right knee, right hand on the floor behind you. Running out of air there. All right, lifting up your spine, softening your abdomen. And then we're going to come on back to center. Straighten out your right leg, bounce your knees up and down, wiggle your toes. And we're going to bring left foot to the outside of the right leg, left hand on the floor behind you. Lengthen up your spine, relax the abdomen. back to center. Straighten out legs, bounce your knees. All right, so you can either sit on blocks. We're going to try to bring it into a squat. So you can sit on a block or two if you have them. This can make the squats a little bit easier for your knees. Pile up 2 blocks. And then be careful that you don't fall off them like I usually do. So if you have a little stool or something, you can try this, but 2 blocks seems to usually work pretty well. You can use 3 if you need to. And then you can lean forward a bit here. So particularly if you have trouble with the knees, this helps you to open up the hips without having quite so much stress on the knees and maybe a little less pull on your low back. If you can do the squat without your blocks, so now I can feel it's a little bit more in my ankles, but again, it's all relative to what's going on in your body. And as I always say, that changes from day to day. So I've been having a little bit of inflammation, a little bit of vertigo kicking up. So I took Tylenol to try to bring down some of that inflammation that I think is causing some of my vertigo. So that also really changes how flexible I am, right? I'll feel less tension just, with that anti-inflammatory from the Tylenol. And then we're just going to take it into a little forward fold. Start to straighten out your legs. So again, here's where you might use blocks with the vertigo. I've been keeping my head up a little bit higher, so blocks can be nice. And then maybe shift your hips a little bit from side to side. And come all the way up to standing. Reach arms up overhead. Hands touch, bring them all down to the heart. Take a big breath. Big breath. And then we're going to take the feet out a little bit wider. Hands on hips. Turn your right foot out, your left foot follows. Bend in that right knee. So feel that left foot pushing down into the floor. So engaging this back leg. Lift the spine up, bring arms up to about shoulder height. Look out over your right fingertips. And then really into the side. So I'm going to stay up a little bit higher. If you're going to lower arm, rest your right lower arm on your right thigh. I'm going to rest on my hand here, keep my head higher. But try to really push that left foot down into the floor, pulling the body out from the hip so your leg is kind of pushing down and the body is pulling out in the opposite direction. Then we're going to come back to center. Hands on hips. We're going to rotate that right foot in, turn the left foot out. Lift your spine up. Arms come on up to shoulder height. We're going to bend in the left knee. So now feel your right foot pushing down into the floor. And then we're leaning into extended side angle. Again, finding your spot here. So foot's pushing down, like the leg is pushing down out of the hip, and then the body's pulling out in the opposite direction from the hip. Breathing. And then we're going to come back to center, back into a warrior 2. Hands are going to come to your hips. Straighten out the legs, and just another nice, easy little wide leg forward fold. And then we're going to turn it back into a squat, so you can walk your feet a little in. You're going to bring your blocks underneath you. You can prop them right underneath you. Otherwise, just coming on down. gonna start one block underneath me and come back into a seated position. And then we're gonna bring arms back up overhead. Grab hold of right wrist to bend a little bit to your left. Come back to center and grab hold of left wrist. Bend a little bit to your right. Come back to center. We're going to take it into another twist. Turning to the right, left hand resting on either leg. Big full breath. Back to center. Turning to your left side. And then back to center. Hands touch, bring them all down to the heart. Take a big full breath. Okay, so as we move into pranayama, the breathing practices, you're gonna want clean hands. So I just touched my feet. I've been walking around on the floor in the gym. So I'm gonna go wash my hands. So if you wanna wash your hands too, pause the video. Come back in a minute. Okay, we're gonna start with some pranayama basics. So sitting upright, you wanna be again relatively comfortable. I'm not really sure how long I'm gonna last on this single block. I may have to move to a chair, but we'll see how it goes. So you wanna sit with your spine upright. We're gonna breathe into the belly first. So just take a normal inhale and let your abdomen expand. Trying not to feel the rib cage expand. Right, so normally when we breathe, we can feel the rib cage expanding. Maybe you feel the breath coming up into your chest. So we're gonna start out with this one just by really trying to puff out the belly and not expand the chest. So try to really draw that breath into your abdomen, letting it expand out. And then you can just let the abdomen soften. So maybe hands on your belly. Try to feel that belly expanding out. So again, try not really to move the rib cage, but just really the diaphragm pressing down, pressing out the abdomen. Trying to fill your lungs as much as you can as you let that belly expand outward. And then just pause for a moment, let that go. So that's, in yoga, that's deep breathing, breathing into the abdomen. So then chest breathing, we're gonna try to let the rib cage and the chest expand, but not the shoulders coming up. So just try to let really the rib cage expand outward. So now you're gonna breathe in. So again, trying to breathe as much as you can, as filling your lungs as much as you can. Oh, wait, I forgot. As usual, I forgot something. So we're gonna try to hold the diaphragm. So in that first one, the diaphragm was pushing down and letting the belly push out. So we're gonna try to keep the diaphragm from pushing down. So maybe pull the belly in a little bit. Try to keep the diaphragm still. So tightening up the abdominal muscles. And then we're gonna breathe into the ribs, sorry. So not letting your shoulders rise, not letting the abdomen expand out, but just really keeping it into the rib cage. So you can do this with your phone. You can do a little stopwatch and see if there's any difference for you in, if you try to breathe at the same pace, how many seconds you can breathe, how far you can get the lungs to fill. All right, so one more. Again, just holding that diaphragm in. All right, so I think that one's a little harder. It's a little more restrictive. All right, and then this time we're gonna try to breathe more into the chest and let the shoulders rise up. So again, holding the diaphragm in, and now try to really puff up in this upper part, like you're really drawing your spine upward. So lengthening up your spine, holding that abdomen in a bit. And trying to really breathe up into the chest. So high breathing or chest breathing. What did I say the last one was chest breathing? I think the other one, to me the other one's really more like rib breathing. So again, you can do a stopwatch and try to time these and see which one feels like it's letting you draw in the most oxygen. Like which one can you do for the longest? All right, we're gonna let that go. So in yogic breathing, we're really trying to do all three of those things together. So we're trying to get the fullest capacity of the lungs. So we're gonna take just a little breath here. So this is often called three-part breathing. It's described as filling a pitcher of water or a glass, you know, how the water starts to fill the bottom of the glass and then starts to rise to the middle of the glass and then up to the top of the glass of the pitcher. So it's that same thing that we're trying to draw the air down. Obviously this isn't exactly what happens, but that sensation of letting the abdomen expand out, so as though the air is filling the bottom of the body first, and then it's filling the rib cage, and then it's filling the upper body. All right, so we're gonna try to let that abdomen expand out, let the ribs expand out, and let the chest expand. So drawing your inhales in and not, you know, being too exaggerated or stressed out, but just trying to have a nice full breath where you're letting the body expand. And then letting it slip out. See if you can feel that sense of the body expanding out from the bottom and then moving into the ribs and then moving into the chest and the shoulders. We're not going to worry too much about the exhales, but sometimes we work on that sensation of the exhale being the reverse, like the breath's coming out of the upper body and then out of the middle and then out of the bottom. But right now, just focus on the inhales. Filling the abdomen, letting the abdomen expand out so the diaphragm is pushing out, making room for the lungs. And then the ribs expanding out. And then maybe you're getting a little bit taller. The upper part of the chest fills up. Let's do one more. So maybe you're noticing how helpful it is to be sitting upright, to having your spine be straight up and down instead of, you know, like I'm usually kind of slumped over or sitting sideways kind of on my couch. So just trying to have your spine nice and tall gives us this room to expand and breathe in fully. All right, so we want the breath to be slow, but we're gonna try to do our exhales for twice as long. So some of this theory, you know, I think there's a lot to be said about slowing the breath down, but some of the, you know, older texts on yoga are about really trying to make the exhales twice as long as the inhales so that we're exhaling completely. So I just have the question in my mind of, well, does that really need to be twice as long to exhale completely? So I think we're just trying to inhale and exhale fully, and to do it at a relatively calm pace. That's my thought for the day. All right, so let's play with it. So we're gonna try to do, okay, let's try to do a count of, let's try to do like 4. We're gonna do an inhale to 4, right? So we're trying to inhale, try to do that full breathing to 4, and then we'll try to exhale to 8. So I'm gonna try to count on my fingers. All right, so just getting nice and comfortable. And then you can do it on your hand too if we don't inhale at exactly the same time. So we're gonna try to, it's a lot to do all at once, right? To try to breathe into the belly and then into the ribs and then count at the same time. And then one of the books I have says, you're counting ohms, so hearing ohm for a certain number of repetitions. So let's just try to keep it nice and easy. All right, so we're gonna inhale to 4. And then we're gonna try to exhale to 8. Inhale to 4. Exhale to 8. Inhale to 4. Exhale to 8, sorry. Okay, and then we're gonna let that go. Okay, so for me personally, I do not enjoy that counting piece. Maybe at some point I'll feel more comfortable with that. I feel like I just want to inhale until I feel like I've taken that nice full inhale, and then I want to just slow down my exhale and make sure that exhale's like nice and long and complete. I don't want to worry about like, I feel like I'm having to, I don't know, like control my breath a little bit too much. I just want it to be a nice slow full inhale and a nice slow full complete exhale. So your choice. If you want to count, go for it. If you're like me and you're like, I just want to experience the breath and not stress about how long that's taking and what the ratio is, just feel your breath. Okay, but so now we're going to try to do it single nostril breathing. So I'm going to try to count rounds here. We're going to try to do, inhale, exhale, that's 1 round. We're going to do this through the left nostril first. So we're going to try to do this complete breathing through the left nostril. And the recommendation is to do this 15 to 20 rounds. So 15 to 20 complete breaths just through the left nostril. And then you do the same thing through the right nostril. So let's just start with 5 and see how that goes. So we're going to take any finger you like, any way you want to do this. You can just kind of bring your hand to your right nostril. You can let your fingers come down. You can just do, I think thumb is easiest. So you're going to close off your right nostril. So again, nice long spine. We're going to do that full breathing. So breathing into the abdomen, into the ribs, into the chest. And then we're going to exhale and try to make it a really nice complete exhale. If you want to count, go for it. All right, so here we go. We're going to so we start with an inhale. You start with an inhale through the left. So, all right, I'll just stop talking now. All right, inhaling left, all the way into the belly. Complete inhale, and then complete exhale. Okay, so by my count, that's 5 complete breaths. I think that's a good starting point. Let that go. And observe how that felt for you. I feel a little spacey. So probably more oxygen than I'm normally taking in. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing on the right side. So we're gonna do 5 complete rounds of breath on the right side. So you can either use your left hand or you can change fingers. You can use your index finger, you can use your ring finger to close off that left nostril. All right, so again, just this full, slow, breathing all the way into the abdomen and then into the ribs and then into the chest. All right, here we go. Beginning with an inhale. Let's see if you can relax a little bit while you're doing it. So again, that should be about 5. Once more, notice how you're feeling. How was that? I'm gonna move my legs here a little bit. So anything new can be very awkward, uncomfortable, sort of challenging, takes a lot of focus. But one of the things I like about that is that it takes a lot of focus, so it kind of takes my mind off of everything else. And it really made me slow down my breath, so I don't know if you noticed that too. And just right, that really thoughtful kind of breathing made me really slow down, which they say is really helpful for calming the nervous system. So let's see if we can do it again. I'm just gonna take a little breather here. And then we'll reset. So coming back into your seat. So what I found, what I started to do in the beginning, I was trying to count with my finger, just going like, okay, first round of breath, second round. And then I just started hearing in my head 1 as I was inhaling and exhaling, and then the second breath, 2, and right? So doing it that way, because I so easily lose count. So maybe that's helpful for you. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna close off right nostril. So nice full inhales, right? Letting the abdomen expand, ribs, chest. Same thing with the exhales, complete exhales. So let's try 5 again on the left side. And again, that should be about 5. Then how did that seem that time? Any easier now that we already did it once? All right, let's move on to the right nostril. So again, whatever finger you want to use to close off your left nostril, we're going to inhale through the right side, letting the abdomen, the ribs, and the chest expand. And really trying to exhale out fully. Should be about 5 on that side. Okay, observe how you're feeling. Interesting. All right, and then I'm just going to take a couple minutes just to be still. Feel your breath, just breathing normally. And imagine yourself any place at all that makes you really happy. So again, this can be a place that you totally make up, a photograph you've seen of a beautiful place. You can imagine a beautiful view of mountains, maybe it's spring, maybe it's fall with beautiful colors. Any place at all that makes you happy. So you can imagine yourself inside. So maybe you don't like being outside, but you love a beautiful view. You can just totally imagine yourself in a room with big picture windows and a gorgeous view outside. And then imagine yourself really there in that space. What would it feel like to be there in that place? It makes you calm and happy. Try to feel those sensations of being relaxed and happy. deeper inhale. And notice how you are. Bring your hands to your heart. One more big full inhale. And exhale it out. Thank you for being here and sharing in this practice today. Namaste.